Everybody, welcome to Crypt- Cryptic City. Now introducing your hosts, CityGirl and PixelAddikt.
Oh, Blue, you even tried to say it like Sherwin. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you,
Hi,
everyone, for
everybody.
coming tonight.
How's it going?
So, tonight, well, might as well kick it off talking about the big elephant in the room, the
Yes,
fact that
yes.
our dear friend AltSpace will be leaving us. Heavy hearts, but this is part of life. Change is part of life, and we will be making some moves. We're going to be, everybody who's in here will obviously be looking for a new home space to hang out in, a new place to socialize with friends. And a lot of us will be looking for a new place to, host our business or our show, our events that we do. I'm sorry, I'm having a little drift difficulty today. Um, but yeah, I mean, so we've, we've gonna we're going to have a big hole in our heart where this was, but I think we've filled it with tons of memories. Whether you've been on here for a month or you've been on here for a couple of years, there's been so much to witness, so much to enjoy, so many things. I mean, some of these world builders on here, I mean, Matty Boy, the worlds that he's created on here were just
Wow.
insane. The things that his mind was just so creative, artsy. The things that she's made have been so incredibly beautiful. And you've got Optic with these gorgeous worlds. Stover, look at the world we're in right now. A lot of these world builders just, they saw the vision, they ran with it, they created amazing places for us to spend time in. So, we're very grateful to them for the experience that we've had in here. But now we get to go learn some new stuff, enjoy some new worlds. And, VR, we talk about the metaverse, and I think we get pigeonholed because we spend so much time here in AltSpace. AltSpace is
Right.
not the metaverse, it's a little neighborhood in it. So now we
Yep.
get to go out there and enjoy the entire metaverse world. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so, I've been around tech for, it's been 2 decades now, over 2 decades. So I've seen, the ebbs and flows, and I've seen different technology come in and out, and I've seen different social platforms kind of, I was there with all the early ones, Friendster, and kind of, all the ones that, people jumped on, and then they eventually, sometimes tech companies acquire platforms, sometimes they sunset them, for a lot of different either whether it's financial reasons or just manpower and or the people that takes the kind of and sometimes it's more like executive, it's more kind of board, and it's more the vision of the big company. We know Microsoft owns all space, and Microsoft's been
Hmm.
in the news lately with all their AI kind of work and all their different things. And I think seeing Meta kind of put so much money and emphasis on metaverse and VR and such. And so I think some other players in the industry maybe are just kind of reevaluating kind of where all the attention and kind of funds go, right? So it just happens, part of tech. And so we take our
Mm.
communities where our friends are, where the developers are, right? And the most advanced platforms are the ones that usually win, right? The ones that have a good user experience, that onboard people so that you can grow the communities and grow the worlds. And so, like you were talking about, there's VR chat and spatial, and we'll go through a few of them tonight and kind of talk about how the worlds relate, how the communities kind of the experiences, and some of them you can have events and some of them you can't. Some of them have small kind of events where it's closed. Like here, we're spoiled. Microsoft owns, Azure Cloud and all these things, so we can have, tens of thousands of people kind of working in all these worlds, and not all platforms kind of have features like that. So, and talk about the platforms and the types of events they have, right? And some are more social and some are more for brands and companies. So, interesting.
Absolutely. You're right. It is part of business, and at the end of the day, it does all come down to business. And they're going to go where the business makes the most sense. And Is it dollar driven? Absolutely. Is it, it's not necessarily community driven when you're making business decisions, but you do look at where the community is going to go and who's going to follow and what has the best potential for growth. And that's what I think that they're going to be looking at when they decide where they're going to put their business money. And that just makes sense. So, so AltSpace, some of the things that with AltSpace that we were very comfortable with um, is the fact that, the Unity based worlds, like the one that we're in here, Unity was, although Unity itself is a very difficult platform for people to, learn out of the gate, it does take some time and effort and dedication to create things in it. But once you learned it, I think you got used to it. No, I'm not a tech by any means. I do have, a little bit of skills. I could go in and I could bring kits in, but once I could bring a kit in, I could bring in, a table or a chair in 20 different colors and different sizes and everything else. And so it became familiar. So
Right.
now we're going to be, having to learn in some cases different creative tools, whereas there are other platforms out there that also still use Unity. So, it's a back and forth. The tech end of things is always everybody learns at different degrees, and there are
Yep.
people who are going to excel at certain things, just like here in AltSpace. We have some people who build worlds. We have some people who could never build a world if they wanted to. We have some people who do MREs and kits. And it's funny that a lot of the world builders don't know how to do MREs. And
No.
the kit and MRE builders have no idea how to build a world. So, there are different skill sets for every person, and not everyone is going to go on to another platform and become the super tech. And some people may find that they learn new skills and improve what they're able to do.
Well, what I find too is it's all about they're called the tool sets, right? All the different
Mhm.
kits, all the tool kits that kind of the platforms offer. So companies like Facebook and Meta, when they built, Horizon World and all that, they it's the user friendly, right? So you can only build in world. Right here with AltSpace, you can place things in the world, and you can interact with a lot of the MREs and the kits, and you can
Mhm.
place them. But a lot of the building and all that takes place kind of off, obviously in Blender and kind of the 3D software and Unity, and like you were saying. So some people are really good at building in headset where they can place, different
Yeah,
things. And a lot of the cool feature of the Horizon world is you can do collab development. So we can both be building a world kind of together. There's up to four people. So that's kind of different than kind of alt space, right? Like, so I think
definitely.
some of the developers will like some of the new features. Some of them won't. Like when you get into VR chat or other ones, it's a different scripting language. It's a different the interactivity is different. So all that matters, right? All that matters to the experience for people, but also like you said, the designers, the developers, the builders, they all have to learn either new things. There's a learning curve, but
Of
sometimes
course.
it's easy to cross over. Like if you're used to Unity and all that, when you get into like Unreal Engine and something else, even though those are high-end software, you've already learned some things. So you can kind of people try and do Blender. Like we were talking about Artsy. Artsy has
Hmm.
he has a world building group that I'm a part of, a collective. It's amazing, and everybody talks about Blender and all these tools, but people found out real quick, like this is not easy. It's not Photoshop. It's not, everything you see, that's over designed. It's all in Blender, all in high end software that you have to know how to optimizations and settings. And so, in like you said, the MREs, that's another level of complexity that some designers just don't have. They don't have that skill set, and so they team up with other people. And yeah, you'll find a mix. You'll find people going into other worlds, and if they want to know everything, then they'll have to, start from scratch. But usually it's communities can kind of get together. You can ask. We've already been over to VR Chat and talked to their development team and talked to how you can bring Unity over, to their platform, and what are the goods and bad, right? Like can't have this many polygons. We're all on headsets. Well, a lot of the VR chat is all on PC. So it's developing for different experiences and knowing the limitations. Reason things look the way they do is have limitations. So it'll be interesting.
Absolutely. Oh, sorry, I'm drifting everywhere. Sorry. Um, and one of the other things, besides just the worlds that we're used to experiencing in here, is, events because, obviously we're here right now, we're doing this show. And there's lots of events here in AltSpace. AltSpace is, it's one of the things that it's most known for is all
So
the different
good.
events
Yeah.
that you can do in here. So events in other platforms are not the same. There are definitely things that are a little bit different. There are capability differences. There is the look and feel is different. One big thing, if you look right now, obviously the presentation up on the screen that we can do here, you can't do that in a lot of the other platforms. Now, you can't do it yet. The fact that we're able to do it here and this platform is going away is obviously going to be more of a priority for these other platforms now because people are going to want it. People are going to say, hey, I want to come over and do my show or my world over in your platform, but I need to be able to have this capability. And it's not like it's going to be just you or just you asking for that. There's going to be lots of people asking for it because it's a
Mm.
necessity. So they're going to have to take their forecasting of what they planned for the year and say, okay, now this needs to be pushed up in the priority list if we want
Yeah.
to drive the masses to our platform. Now, I'm going to tell you that, we're talking tonight right now about space and what we're leaving behind. And we're going to talk about all the different platforms that are, well, not all, but a bunch of the different platforms that are out there. One thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have Blue put on the raise hand feature because if you have questions or comments as we go along and talk about these different platforms, I want you to be able to ask the questions. And I want you to share with us because I know some of you who are here in the audience right now are familiar with other platforms and do things over there already. So if, we say something or we're talking about something and you feel you have something you would like to talk about it or mention or question, please feel free to use the raise hand feature. And the last topic about, and what I think is probably most dear to me that we're losing out of alt space is the avatars. I mean, we have really
Yeah.
cool avatars here. Our avatars, we've been able to personalize them. We get them pretty close. I mean, obviously they don't look like what we look like in real life, but I think we get them pretty close sometimes. And then other people have used them as a form of expression. I mean, I kind of think you probably don't have teal hair in real life,
Do
although I
do?
do have
That's
purple
why I
hair in
did
real
this.
life.
This is
So
I
it's
roll like
kind of
this.
cool because you do have, a wide variety, but every single person in here is essentially the same. We're all the same size. We're all the same shape. We have different hair, skin, facial features, body shapes, and stuff like that. Our clothes are all a little different, but we're all kind of equal. And that was kind of really nice, which in some of the other platforms, it's not the same. So there's pros, there's cons. We're losing what we know and what we're comfortable and warm and fuzzy with. We're about to go find what our new favorite thing is. And you know what? A year from now, you're going to be so comfortable in the other platforms that you're working in that it's going to be like, oh yeah, remember AltSpace? That was so cool. It's going to be this learning and change can be good. So one of the first places that we're going to talk about tonight is VR chat because I feel like a lot of people who are here in AltSpace go over to VR chat either at the end of the night or in between days. There's a lot of the same crowd that we see here, we run into over there.
Right.
And VR chat has a fun feel to it. I mean, it's kind of interesting because the avatars over there that we were just talking about how different they are. The avatars over there, you can literally be pretty much anything in the world over there. You can be talking to Big Bird and Pup
Yep.
Smurf, and you can be talking to Bill Gates, and you can be talking to like Barack Obama, depending on what people
Absolutely.
chose as their avatar. You have the ability to be anything over there. which is really different. And you have avatars that are this big, and you have avatars that are floor to ceiling. So
Right.
that is a very different feel and look over there.
Well, and
Um,
the internet has always had both sides. You have to have both sides. You have to have like a place like Facebook where it's your real name and your friends and your family and then your colleagues and work stuff, and then you have to have a place like Reddit or something where you're anonymous and you can post. And so in
yes,
VR, like this is Microsoft owned. They're a corporation. Like, geez, like and VR chat is more a bunch of developers that got together, built the functionality that you can add in VR chat is insane. Like, but with less rules is more chaos and more
hmm,
anarchy and kind of so you can find everything in VR chat from the good, the bad, and in between. So you'll find just
absolutely,
like in real world, you'll find the white hat, black hat, and some gray hat, and that's just how it is. And so society kind of pushes that over. But I think the avatars are very expression based. Like and the work as
absolutely.
as a developer, I like it because then I get to design and work on the bones and everything for a small avatar, a big avatar, and how they move, and you get to learn a little bit. I think a lot of it's testing. I do agree. Some of it is more, hey, I'm gonna be Big Bird for the week and I'm gonna act crazy. I get that's fine, it's cool. But I think some people take it they put a lot of functionality so that a wide variety of avatars can kind of interact and you can have your own personality and your own kind of brand. But I think some of those worlds are good because, like you said, alt space people are starting to create groups. So over, just like we have our worlds and we have that, they have worlds, but they have also groups where it's like-minded people. You can talk about cars, you can talk about crypto, you can talk about
Mm.
the metaverse, and and they have a big mod system. The mod system has gotten improved over the years, so kicking the young kids out that don't deserve, whether it's over 18 or just the topics aren't appropriate. You kind of want to make sure. I'm a big believer of that. I have kids, and I
Yes,
didn't
I
want
agree.
them they want them in seeing content they weren't ready for until I, as a parent, approved of it. And kind of, it's harder these days. I do understand kids have headsets and they, wander in and do these things. But I think it's you raise them well and then you teach them that, there's places on the internet that are welcoming and you can learn a lot or you can, engage in social. And I've been in VR chat where they have a painting on the wall and thought it was cool. And went through it. Whoa, whoa, hold on. I kind of figured it was like a enabled something where you were walking into the painting and it was all 3D, and I'm like, okay, you're starting to bend the rules of kind of experiences that you can have, and the the types of fireworks and the types of fluid displays and all that. There's less constraints over there because you just
Mm,
Microsoft will control a lot of how you can implement some of those kind of Unity based, and I guess there's more scripting over there. So it's interesting. It's different, you said,
absolutely.
just different.
Of course, and you mentioned the groups, and if you go over there with people that you can create your own group and
Yep,
have just because one of the things is I know a lot of people when they jump over to VR chat, prior to this, they're like, oh my God, little kids everywhere. And it's like, okay, but if you know how to use VR chat, you can go in there and you create your own instances. And in those instances,
yep,
you can just invite your friends or friends of friends, and you can keep out the people that you don't want in your crowd. When you make an event over there, it's going to be a little bit harder to post the events to get the recognition because you put them within your group, and people that follow your group are going to see you're telling them, hey, I'm having an event on Friday, blah blah blah, and it
right.
gets pushed out to them. But it's harder. Like here we have the event board, which is a lot easier to project. The event board over there isn't as easy to navigate to find what you're looking for. So now that
I
becomes
see.
something that we have to work on trying to improve going forward. Little different
That's your
than
marketing.
searching worlds.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but that comes back to, like you said, being a good host, being a good
Yes,
kind of marketing person, brand yourself properly, put it out on your socials on IG and Facebook and Twitter
this is
and
where we
TikTok,
are.
and
Hmm.
pull them back into those links. So one thing
Yes.
about VR chat is it is available obviously on desktop as well, just like AltSpace is on Steam, like VR chat is on Steam as well. So you can put links that just click and try and onboard people. So and have those events. You just got to promote them differently. I hear you.
Exactly. Yes. And one of the other things that's a little bit different too over there is that it is available, like you said, on PC as well as Quest. However, like just like with AltSpace, so like my bot is here right now recording. You can see her there. She's in 2D. She doesn't have full capability when she's on PC. Now in VR chat, it's slightly different. In VR chat,
Say hi to your bot.
um, in VR chat, the difference that you have over there with PC versus the headset is that PC is actually enhanced. The things you see with PC are, far more colorful, if that's the right word to choose.
Yeah.
You can have things built into the avatars that you don't see when you're on the headset. But if you're in PC, you're like, wow, you're glowing, you've got sparkles, you've got all this stuff. You don't see that when you're in the headset. So it's actually designed better for PC than it is for headset, even though it has the same capabilities for both. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
it's interesting.
It just comes down to the code and the platform's capabilities, and there's a lot more power. This essentially is a mobile phone. Right? This is a strong Android. It's a Snapdragon processor. It's what they have. So, it's you have to constrain kind of what you can, and the PC just has more power. So obviously people can kind of develop different experiences, but you got to be able to optimize for both. And there's more people that are on Quest though, so it's
Correct.
kind of you got to kind of take it what you do.
And I think that the people who are creating over there, whether it's the worlds or anything, they realize that, and that they're enhancing what the Quest people see. Like they're making it as best as they can for the Quest. So the Quest experience is getting still a beautiful world.
Agree.
You're still
Yeah.
getting a wonderful experience. You don't realize what you're missing till somebody says, "Oh, I don't see that." But in general, you're not lacking. You're still getting a wonderful world to look at. Next on our little tour is Horizon. And I was talking to you earlier about this, Pixel, that like my first experience with Horizon was when it came out in beta, and I went over there and I
Right.
checked it out, and I was like, oh no, 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 we've gone back in time. We're building with with blocks. This is not attractive, and it was just not that I ended up spending a lot of time over there. But this was quite a while ago. It was when it was still in beta. And
Right.
of course, you get familiar in your little world and you kind of don't travel back because you just didn't have the warm, fuzzy first experience. Well, tonight, thanks to one of our guests here, Bill and Nello, they invited me and Blue to go check out some worlds that they built over in Horizon. Well, Nello built the worlds and Bill is working with her over there. And I'm humbled because I went over there and I was like, oh my God, these are beautiful. She's an
Right.
amazing world builder. She has taken the 15 shapes that they can build with and she's manipulated them into crown molding. I mean, like just amazing details.
Right.
The places look wonderful. She's bent pieces into like beautiful light fixtures. She's got recessed lighting that is to die for. It's really good. I mean, she's made these worlds look attractive. Now that's, it's what I needed to see to put
Right.
Horizon in the mix. I'm not gonna lie, everybody here knows obviously we're going away March 10th. I'm looking for a new home. I'm trying to find where the next place for Crypto City is going to be. If we're going to try and move forward with this and bring a nice platform for people to come similar to this. Obviously, it's going to be different world,
Mhm.
but I'm checking all these out for myself as well. So
Sure.
like I said, was pleasantly surprised. And once again, there's pluses and minuses with Horizon, and there are things that I saw today that definitely gave me a bit of a like okay, I could see how this could work. And then there's also some things that I'm still trying to work out.
Sure.
Um,
Always.
one of them is the fact that it's not available worldwide yet. There's still some parts of the Eastern Hemisphere that don't have it,
True.
including Australia, and some other places in Asia. And we do have some of those people in our community that live in those places that, we it would be limiting for that. Um, so, I mean, that is something that I do need to consider. But again, the word is yet. Once again, people's hands are being forced. They need to step up to the plate to bring some of this stuff to the forefront to capture all the people that are leaving AltSpace.
Yeah, they Meta just announced, I think it was a couple of months ago actually, where they're upgrading whole world's engine to include like obviously like textured images, PBR kind of ones like we have here in AltSpace. So it won't look so like they have gradients and they have all the color palettes and kind of everything. And you can add textures now. You can add stone textures and everything, but
Mhm.
it's not the expansive high resolution kind of textures that we're used to kind of somewhat here. And they announced that they're gonna allow that. It's gonna be an upgrade. So the worlds were looking, like you said. I think Zuckerberg kind of put out a tweet or something, and it had like really old and people just destroyed him online. So I think they kind of went to the next meeting, and he's like, okay, we got to give them something. So coming up, and obviously, I think it'll be this year, right? They're gonna upgrade everything, and the scripting over there is amazing. To be honest, like to be able to developers love it over there because you can do car races and other things. You have more control over the physics based stuff. Like there's a reason we can't play pool and can't do crazy math here in AltSpace because you have to code that in the MREs. And the way
Mhm.
that they do that, I guess the scripting in is a lot more user friendly. It's more blocks you can click and drag and build out a lot of these, interactions and such. And so they're upgrading all the time. Meta has tons of money. So they have tons of developers, tons of engineers that are working on developing stuff for users and world builders. And to be honest, like I've been over there last couple months and I have a friend that develops there and he has an agency, he's a Meta partner, and they develop like good big worlds for serious, serious people. And so his worlds, I can't believe it's the same. Like you can't believe that this was the old and this is the new. And I
Right?
get in these worlds, I'm like, but there's just like there's normal builders and then there's artsy and Nira and Stovert. And
Mhm.
so over there, there's the same thing. You have people building fun little worlds that look crazy. And then you have, colleagues and kind of people that really kind of build at a higher level and notice the difference. And like you were mentioning before with Blue, we were talking, you feel more minimalist, feel more,
Yes.
it's not as cluttered there. Like the worlds are a little bit not bigger, but it seems like there's more open space because you have to decide, okay, two couches and they're pretty much square. You can't use too many
Right?
polygons. You can't the cap's the same thing as it is here. I believe, it's in that range of 200,000 tries. Like that's it. Like you can go higher, but then you're gonna have performance issues. You're gonna
Mm.
have stuttering, and they have a very strict policy. Like they won't approve any worlds. If it's
That's what we
over,
were being
it's
told. Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
we
It has
thought
to
alt
fall
space
under a
was
certain
bad. They're
category. Mm.
absolutely the categories, and they have to just like Apple's really smart about how they curate. It's all about the curation. Curate.
Yes.
Some platforms let everybody do whatever they want. That's great, but this is Meta. There are companies that are going to make sure that you follow certain guidelines, and they're going to be
Mm.
strict about it to make sure that like you said, the worldwide, everybody is having fun. It's inclusive and
Yes.
it's kind of very diverse kind of to everybody. And so that's kind of how
Agreed.
I feel about over there. So we'll go soon.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, right now, they also do not have all the capabilities of, like the screens for the presentations and stuff. However, their sister app, Horizon Workspace, does. So we
Right.
know it's coming because we know they can do the technology. It's a matter of when it will be there. Again, I just feel very strongly that right now, with AltSpace shutting down, everybody's timetable is going to be accelerated a bit for some
Agree.
of these, for some of these amenities. We're going to need to put them in a little bit faster than what was originally their game plan. So that's, you know what, that'll work out for us. We're going to benefit because we, like I said, we know they can do it. They just need to incorporate it and get it out there. And hopefully it happens, before the end of the year and a little bit sooner than that. So,
Yeah. You made a good point about the events as well for like the capacity, right? Like so some of those were like VR chat, I think it's only 80 people per world and they do instancing, but I don't think it scales very well. And I
mm,
know that Horizon can have events, but I think it's capped out at a couple hundred people and max. I don't
it's
think they
even
do
less.
the
Yeah.
yeah, it's less, and I don't think they do the instancing, and but our next metaverse that we're talking about actually has instancing. I've taken a look at it, so we'll go ahead and jump into spatial.
Yes. So our next one is spatial. This one, I have to say, I haven't spent a lot of time in there, but I actually like what I've seen so far. I know it's still got some things it's working on, but honestly, there are some parts of it that it's very attractive. It's a nice looking workspace, from what I've seen over there. And, I'm hearing things from creators saying that they're enjoying building over there. So that means that it can't be, it can't
Right,
be too difficult if they're enjoying it, because
right,
everybody who builds, they build, they might like it. They don't usually enjoy the building because they're struggling to get it done, when
yeah,
they're new. So some of these people are new over there playing around and saying, I'm actually enjoying it. So that's a good thing. I mean,
yeah.
if you're
So
not a world builder and you like it.
of course. Yeah, well, Spatial started off as like a gallery kind of metaverse, right? Where artists were going there and you can easily, if you had 100 paintings and you're an artist, you can easily go to Spatial, upload those 100 and it'll build a world for you. You can pick a template, you can pick a museum. Like here, we have templates here. We have
Mhm.
but here it's more fun, it's more your house. There, I think it's more for business and more for entrepreneurs and more for freelancers and so like I went to tons of art galleries and I'm like, this is nice, but they have a Web3 component where you can upload NFTs. You can upload your OpenSea, you can add in your wallet and put your OpenSea. So that was kind of cool. I kind of like that. And but, there's always
Mm.
been an upgrade, right? So lately, I think a few months ago, maybe I think the industry was talking and they might have got whispers of this, but they introduced Unity-based kind of uploads. So right away, a lot of the world builders here were looking at spatial, and because it's a cross-platform, they take that very serious. So it's not all VR; it's also kind of on the web. The web experience is actually really good. You can be on the web or a tablet, and you can. It's more for if you had like a private penthouse that you wanted to have an event at. Well, I thought that was
Okay.
good because you can put those links out on Facebook. Click here to join my event, and stuff like that, like instant click to join is awesome.
Oh, that's
So all you
amazing.
have to have
Yeah.
is hey, you just have to have an account. And so we have there's a hip hop producer that does cool things where it's on spatial and he'll say, buy this NFT. And if you have the NFT, then you can get to the spatial website. The world is token gated by this NFT. Very cool. PixelAddikt loves that shit. So that's
Yeah,
great.
no, that's amazing. That I love hearing that. That's exciting. Those kinds of things are exciting because that brings the experience to another level. That's like, how else can we engage the masses? Like, get them excited about it. I mean,
Yeah,
you know how much I love talking about utility. So to me, that's incredible. I actually find that to be a big pro on the pro and con list. I like that.
for sure. Yeah, and it's a very simple process, right? Like they don't make it super complicated. They want the artist to be able to do it. So it's like have this NFT and they'll token gate it, and then all of a sudden you can I think it's good you have all these wallets and you can, like we said, you can airdrop and you can control, and now you have a members only metaverse, a members only world. Like here, I think a lot of the issues we were having, with Naughty by Nature and kind of other brands coming in is there was no monetization. Vin
Mm.
mentioned it before. I've kind of talked about it, but whiners can't be whiners, we go with what we can do. And so we never charged any money for any of our holoportation events, any of our podcasts, any of our whatever we were doing. But on these other platforms, possibly we could do a token gate, or we can do something so that it
Mhm.
brings money for the artists, and they can have an event, and they can share their music, and they can put it on, and I can actually teach these artists, hey, come to Spatial. You can quickly set up a little world template kind of world, and you can have these right away instead of,
Right.
building their own custom world and all the extras and extras. It's just a
Mhm.
different way of kind of, promoting yourself. So we've always talked about that.
No, I love the the research I've done on spatial. Like I said, I haven't spent a lot of time in there, but I have read about it quite a bit when I was getting, downloading it. I was checking it out and everything. And one of the big things was that they promoted that their host tools for events was really good.
Right.
They were saying that that they've put the effort into that. They have spatial audio, so that also is something that's great.
Yeah.
For those of you who've ever seen Blue and I together at an event, because we do a lot of events together, you've probably either heard her say, City, you're not on amp, or City, you're still on amp. Shut it off. I'm really, really bad at it. It's just one of those things, But we've done events where I'm like far away from the other people, but yet they can still hear my conversation, and I'm not even on amp. It's just because in here we don't have the best audio, and so one of the things they have is spatial audio. And if I'm sure most of you are familiar, but if you're not, basically the further away you are, you can change so if we're really close together, it'll be
Sure.
nice and loud. But if we're talking here and you're over there, you're not going to hear it so loud. So that, that's a good thing. But you can also, put it so that, if like as if in here where I have the amplify on, if you're anywhere in this world right now, you can hear me because I'm on amplify. So you have those capabilities, which, is
Right.
great because some of the apps don't necessarily have that in the best fashion. They have forms of
Mhm.
it, but maybe not so great. And then also, one of the big things about spatial, which is also the same on Horizon that we just talked about, is the avatars are all human. For those of us who want to do business related things,
Yep.
it's nice to look out and see humans in your audience. It's nice to have the guests that you're with as a human. And I totally agree with you. It is fun to have the avatars over in VR chat and express yourself and all of that.
When
But
you're
in a
supposed
business
to.
meeting,
Yep.
in the right
Agree.
venue, if you were going to bring a company in to come see what you're doing and
I
you're
want
going
to
to
be
have
Big
a
Bird.
meeting, I think you'd want it to be a human being that you're talking to. I mean, that just seems logical. I wouldn't expect, I'm just throwing this out there as an example, but, what if I had a relative who worked at Nike and I was like, oh, I'm doing this crypto, come check it out, come see. And somebody came in as a representative of Nike, and I'm sitting here, dressed as a cucumber, and I'm talking to Oscar the Grouch. And, there's like three people, dressed in the audience as Santa and his elves. I mean, he's going to be like, yeah, yeah, this is cute. Go play with your friends. Like that's just not that's not what you're looking for when you're trying to project business. So from a business standpoint, I feel
Agree.
like spatial and Horizons probably have an edge there a little bit in their look and feel.
And Spatial actually has integration with Ready Player Me. Ready Player
Mm.
Me is the largest avatar platform in the world, and you can design your own. You can have they have collaborations with other. Set your own. These are all
Yes.
humans, and kind of you can be as pizzazz if you want, or you can be business with a suit. But like everyone will take you serious because but
Of course.
have Spatial had a cool feature, and I know AltSpace has it, but nobody really uses it. RT has it's 3D art, like or
Ooh.
sculptures, right? 3D sculptures.
Mhm.
So some people know how to do like GLBs and bring them in and kits, and but not a lot of kind of builders do it. But in Spatial, I was walking around like, oh, all your 3D art, all your statues, and all your cool little art is scanned and built and designed and modeled and then laid into this museum. And I was impressed. I was
Nice.
like, this is a very clean, kind of artsy, like, because you're at that level. You have to keep it clean where the lines and the colors are inviting. And if you get a world like
Absolutely.
that, more people will interact and tell people, hey, did you see this world? Right. So, and they'll put links and they'll share and they'll take photos and videos. That just goes to say, do a good job in your branding. It doesn't matter where you are. All that matters
Yep.
is you're bringing your community, you're entertaining them, you're providing value, and you're exchanging kind of, we're just teaching and talking and learning all together. And so no matter where we go, that'll happen.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely a tender for sure. Um, so our next one, I know you're all probably out there giggling in the audience right now, because you wouldn't really expect this one to be, high up there in the running. But I have to say, I did my homework because it was listed as one of the platforms out there, and Rec Room actually has an amazingly simple event system. To do
Okay.
an event on there, there's actually there's a YouTube video for it that I followed, and it took me all of about, I don't know, 5 minutes to create an event, which was pretty impressive. And the thing is they have these worlds over there that are, kind of designed for this. They're prefabbed worlds that are over there, and yeah, they are a little bit more. Some of them look very similar to like where we are right now, and some of them maybe look a little bit more primitive, but they're clean and they're minimalist, like you said. These rooms are already like set up. You can go in and you click on a button and you can remove everything that's in the room, get rid of
Gotcha.
it and have a big empty shell. Then bring back what you want in that room. I want a couch over here. I want chairs
Yeah.
here. I want a plant here, whatever. You can make it however you want in that room. And it's so simple to do because the stuff already exists. So you're literally, you're not being super creative. You're not in there and you're like, oh, I'm going to design this amazing statue that's, pointing in 10 directions. No, you're using what they gave you. But you have the ability to make it unique in your own way with what they
Right.
gave you. So I was kind of impressed. I was like, all right, this is probably the venue for what I'm doing, but this is a good venue for somebody who wants to bang out a quick event. And if it's something like a karaoke world, perfect. If it's something like, you just sitting there giving a speech about something, it's perfect
Okay.
for that, and it did have a little bit of interactivity that was involved too that you could do in there. If anybody's ever gone over there and played games, I know we've recently gone over there and played paintball. We've played a couple different games over there. Yeah, there's some cool games over there. And once again, this is another one of those apps where yes, there's a lot of little kids over there, but you can go in and do your own private instances again. So if you
Nice.
do that, then you just have the people you want in your group. So a lot of these apps that are, we'll call them family friendly because they're for all ages, you can still segregate out the under 18 crowd if that's not the group that you would like to hang out with when you're on there.
Right.
And the reality is, you did make a comment earlier and you said, there are things I just don't want my kids to see until they're ready to see it, which is fine. For me, one of the bigger aspects is nobody in here really monitors what comes out of their mouth. So you've got little kids on there who might be saying words that you should not be hearing come out of little
Sure.
kids. But as adults, we say it too, and we don't think about it. We just say it in conversation. I don't need
Right.
to have someone who shouldn't hear those conversations
Sure.
or those swear words or something like that before they're of age. I mean, and so I don't want to have to be worried that some child is sitting there hearing that and then is like, hey, mom, this was just
Well,
said.
and that's
You
why
know,
like certain platforms you can tell are more for geared towards adults because of the freedoms
exactly.
that you can do in developers and the events. But like something like Rec Room, there are hundreds of millions of dollars going into that platform. Like there's
Mm.
no joke when it came to their investment rounds, their capital, and the passion that they put into the development. It's for kids, so you can have an event and everything, but you could teach kids, you could have them, and they all It's recognized. They know where they are. They feel safe
Yes,
because all the colors are the same. It feels like a rec room world. It's not
absolutely.
crazy, and honestly, it's not black like this, right? It's not going to be as customizable. Like you said, you can maybe add thing, but you can't change colors or anything, right? It's
Right.
purely just hits. Purely like let's move this table over there and let's
Yep.
change the
Yep.
configurations. But those are the limitations that that platform decided to put because they're focused more on build games here, right? Like
Absolutely.
AltSpace, we have shows and you can build a game in AltSpace, but there's not a lot of game development going on in this world.
Mhm.
In Horizon Worlds, there's more going on, and I think Rec Room and obviously like Roblox and Minecraft and those are for gamers that are building cool experiences for kids. And when I say kids,
Absolutely.
I mean I'm almost 50, so I'm talking about
Kids of
kids
all
is like
ages.
16. Yeah,
Yes.
not like little kids like some 6-year-olds and 8-year-olds that are, I think you should be in VR. You could be 10. I don't think anything under 10 you should be in these kind of, you got to limit the time, right? But I know there's kids that are
Absolutely.
under 13 and that's fine, but do the appropriate education, do the appropriate
Mhm.
content. You could have a fun world. They want to learn from adults. So come as adults, teach the kids about
Yep.
metaverse and fun things and maybe a game that we build in Rec Room, allow them to interact and tell their friends. There's still a place for everybody, and you got to decide what
Absolutely.
worlds you want to build in for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And the thing is you have the ability with the events as well to do a private, public, or unlisted. So you
Gotcha.
can actually, you can make a private world where you're having an event and only invite the people that you want, or you can have it public. And the avatars over there, although the avatars, yeah, they're definitely human, but although
Cute.
they're like very primitive,
Yeah.
there's still plenty of options. There's like tons of clothes. You can earn points as you're playing games and buy new clothes with the points and stuff like that. I mean, like I said, we were over there playing paintball. You win a little kit when you score certain points. You take it out. Now I've got a fur coat I can wear. Now I've got like, a baseball cap. Now I've got sunglasses. You get like all these
Right. Right.
different things. So they're still customizable. So they're, um for a different venue, there's still things you can do over there.
Yeah, but I think the creator economy that we always talk about, kind of as adults, those younger kids that are in those worlds, if they start learning that, hey, I can build my own world and I can, you know, interact and I can kind of, code some of it and I can build all these cool things, like, and they're showing off to their friends, and it just shows them that, like, you don't have to only participate by playing the games, right? Like, I'm trying to, my
In the
son's
game, take
21
it,
and
take it over.
he's yeah, there's gaming and then there's learning, how to develop. And so he has an interest in, like, how does that get developed? What kind of tool sets do you need to do that? And if you can get kids very inquisitive and very young, kind of get into, how to build these things instead of just playing them, then, you're gonna make more money and there's career paths in there. Like, absolutely.
Definitely. Well, and then this next one is not I'm not going to say it's not as well known because some people do know it very well, but it's just not as much, you don't hear about it as much, and this is
Have you been
Neos.
there?
I have not been yet. Have you? Do you
Yeah.
like it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Well, of
It's
course you have.
wild. Yeah. So it's wild. Like it's a cross between VR chat and I don't know. It's its own kind of thing, It's the so you can add like it's a customization between the avatars that's crazy. So like within your avatar, there's code that you can add so where you can copy something, you can become like an interactive avatar. So there's just ways of how like it's like you have your own MRE kit. It's like you have access to a whole MRE kit just within your own avatar. So
Wow.
you can change your avatar at the fly of a whim. You can change scenes. You can interact. Like it's the code that, but it's very open, right? It's very open world where you can have a lot of experiences, but you can code things where music will sync with the effects and stuff, and you can
Oh,
do that in
wow.
AltSpace. Hey, I've seen Nira do it. but the work that it takes to do that versus other platforms that'll guide you and give you templates and give you kind of this. So it's just
Mm.
about and it's way more developer friendly. So a word like Neos is it's okay for users, but it's way more developer friendly so that you can customize stuff at another level that I've never seen before. Like stuff we were doing, and I'm like, oh, AltSpace would never let you do this. We were laughing because
Ah,
yeah. So you can run, it's
that's
running
interesting.
scripts, people talked about running scripts. We understand that. And it's for safety. It's actually for safety so that you don't ruin but
Mm.
I think Neos has a sandbox type thing where you can code and you can do things that are only going to affect, because it's open source. Yeah, the thing with Neos, I believe it's fully open source. So you can develop openly. You don't have to guess. You don't have to wait for the company to give you, you know what I mean? Like
Okay.
tools
Yep.
and you can develop your own. And yeah, so that's where it's a little bit different than the others.
Well, it's interesting because everything I was reading about it, and I planned on downloading and checking it out. But everything I was reading about it was saying, capabilities were like out of this world, like you just said. It said that there was so much you could do in there, and
It's
the thing was
confusing.
was that
It's not for
was
everybody, for sure. Like if you're just getting used to AltSpace and you have a hard time doing this, it's a type of system that I'll be straight up honest. It's harder. The learning curve's more because you got systems, like you got screens, and if you're not, it's like your
it's
Minority
work.
Report kind of thing. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
work.
It's work. Yeah, yeah. You got to
Yes.
dig deeper. There's way more settings. So, like, how we have one screen and we can just see the app. You know how we click emojis and that's nothing.
Yeah.
It's just one little. There's radio menus, and then when you click this, it'll add another menu, and so you can do more, and it's more interactive, but it's not 100% user friendly like these others.
Yeah. It did say that it can be overwhelming. And it also said that the is if even though it has all these extended features right now, that it still doesn't have a full event system in progress. They're still
No,
working on that. That's still like in its beta state. So it's down the road for people who are looking for like more of an event space. It's not their
right,
primary focus. So
right.
that's fine. That's not what they plan to use their platform for. But it does sound like it warrants at least checking it out, because it did
Oh,
seem like
for
there was
for sure.
so much that they were like, it's overwhelming how many things you can do in there, but you can do like it says here up on the board about like the lip syncing, the eye tracking, like
Yeah,
the full range of motion of all of the bodies and stuff like that, that you can actually like, it's they said of all the avatar of all the platforms out there, the avatars in there are the most realistic in movement stuff, because you can do so much with it.
100%. I absolutely agree that if you're into VR, like all of us were into VR, if you're into VR, go check that out because you can do things that you didn't think were possible in actual VR. So it's about social and it's about people in a world. But I think one of them set it up so he was a giant. Like he clicked the button, and all of a sudden it's like he's Godzilla kind of in it, and he's still interacting, and it's just because you can change the cameras, you can change the worlds, you can sync music, you can sync video, you can do anything that you can kind of think
Wow.
of. If you can get a coder to work it, you can bring it into a world, and literally you could be developing innovative VR features that companies could buy, that people will just get their minds blown. Like party, like it was like a EDM kind of party or something, like a festival, and we were standing around looking around. I'm like, this is not old space. I'm not in Kansas anymore. I'm used to being protected and being, I got
Right.
it was fun
Oh
because there's
god.
stuff going on. You're like, I don't know how all this is happening. Like, I don't know
Right,
how
right.
it's
How is this
syncing. I don't.
allowed? Was this
Oh, it's
allowed?
wild. Well, it's very your sensory overload, right? We always talk about, remember, minimalist. Is that for a reason? You gotta calm everything
Yep.
down. Like,
Oh man. And, I mean, we have a lot of choices out there. There's a lot of choices. There's a lot of people who've been already playing in multiple neighborhoods. There's people who have been in AltSpace and Horizon, AltSpace and VR chat, and there's people who've been in, maybe all three. But I feel like now that where our hands are being forced, where, we're forced to go out there and take a look. If we want to keep going with events and things like that, we find the event platform that is the best fit for what we're doing. If we're just looking for socialization and entertainment and having fun, go to all of them. Check them all out. Why not? I mean, these are all the one good thing about all these apps is that they're free to download. They're free to try out. You can go in there and check
Absolutely.
them out. Can you do, buy in-app purchases on some of them? Sure, but the app themselves, every single one of you has the ability to go out there, download it, and try it out. And if you love it, great. And if you decide that, you want to, come home from work and hang out in Horizon for a while and learn about a few things and, play a few games over there and check it out, but you really want to end your night watching a movie sitting in, the cinema world over in VR chat,
Crazy.
there's your combo. You're good,
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
thing is that you're gonna run into people from here in all
Yes.
the platforms.
Absolutely.
There's nobody over here who has said, alt space is going away. I'm completely done with VR. See you later. Bye. That's not how it works. Once you're, hooked into this, you love it, So yeah, you're sad, but you're going to move forward and you're going to
You know
go
how
find your new
cool?
home and you're going to
You know
make
how
new
cool it
friends in
would
your new
be?
neighborhood.
Imagine meeting a friend in the metaverse. I would be freaked out if I was in VR chat in some random world and somebody comes up and they're like, "Hey, PixelAddikt, I remember you from." It would be great because it's such a big, we think our little
Absolutely.
physical world is big, and the metaverse is so
So
many,
much bigger.
so many people.
Right? We're going from a planet out into the solar system, basically,
Absolutely, always, always.
checking them all out.
Mhm.
Well, like I said before, we're going to continue doing our show until the week of March 10th. We'll have our show every Monday night. We hope you'll still continue to come every week. It's very exciting. We're going to have Cyber Shay is going to be on as our guest next week. She
Cool.
actually coming on to talk to us about the Web3 school that they have in here in AltSpace that she went
Okay.
to, took the classes, got her certificate, and good news, although AltSpace is going away, the school is not. It's going to be jumping platforms. So she's going
Okay.
to come
Good.
talk to us. We're going to learn from
Nice.
her and we're going to find out what's available out there because this is something, once again, that is available to everyone. I believe there's a cost involved with it, but you are actually learning. This is you going back to school to
Right on.
learn some of these skills. And you know what? For some of you who are out there who might be thinking, well, I always wanted to learn but it's just too overwhelming. People try to tell me how to do it and it doesn't make sense. Sometimes world builders are brilliant at what they do, but they might not be great at communicating how to do it. Those who can do, those who can't teach. And that's, an old saying. And sometimes it's true. Sometimes you need to go to school and learn from a teacher how to do something and then go execute it because the people who are actually building
Yeah.
worlds, and not all of them, some world builders are willing to take in mentors and show them the ropes, but sometimes people are just a little technical and that makes it hard to communicate to somebody who is not technical. And the person who's
Right.
not technical might still be capable of doing this stuff. So this will
Sure.
be an opportunity for us to hear her journey and find out what she's doing with
Awesome.
it.
Awesome. Can't wait.
So thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you, Pixel.
Thanks, everyone.
I appreciate these conversations that we have every week. Learning. I love that all of you show up, and I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. And we're going to keep bringing it to you hot until the end.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Thank
City.
you. See you next week.
Take care, guys.